put that shit on social media.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Agenda approved.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Abstain.
Minutes approved.
No communications from me. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did get a long-winded conversation about the more people that they hired about tearing up his yard. I just show you the pictures here.
The which more people?
Well, do the side of the roads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You drove it across this mowed yard? Yeah.
So, I can just share them with Nick and,
I was gonna say, make sure you share it with them.
yeah. That's good. Okay. Of course, now it won't come up on my phone, so.
I missed my Board of Health meeting on Wednesday morning, but I kind of got an idea of what went down. I followed up with some of them afterwards, and most all the policies were passed. I think I shared with you guys in the past that I was concerned about the financial policy, and especially about the same person recording the money that comes in, depositing the money, and I thought we should segregate those duties, and it sounds like they did that. There was also discussion of the homemaker services and how much money that we're losing there, making the $5. And I think it sounds like they were gonna talk about what they're gonna do going forward and maybe look into it harder than what we have. And then I had a landfill meeting on Wednesday, and we'll hear about the ordinance a little bit later, but, we had a random inspection that we don't have the report from the DNR, but it sounds like overall it went really well and he was impressed, so that was good. The most important, the biggest thing that we talked about was this coal soil. Coal soil. It's the Light Energy coal plant on C Street in Cedar Rapids. They have had a spot where they had like a stockpile, and they need to get rid of that coal dirt rock mixture because they want to put a building on it now. And so they're seeking bids to take it. I don't want to go into too much about how much we're talking about because I don't know how much of a competition there is, but I can pass this around and you can see like on this back page what the costs they're thinking are going to be and then what the income would be. But I just don't want to say too much just because it might be, I don't know if other people are bidding against us. But it sounds like a good revenue opportunity. So we passed a motion to allow him to negotiate on behalf of us on that.
So a dumb question, can we utilize that to cover stuff, or does that have to be buried?
No, that's kind of perfect. It will help fill in B1, I think our cell that we're closing up right now, it'll help kind of
Cover it?
We'll still have to do a clay over the top, but it will reduce the cost of covering it.
It's kind of a win-win. Getting paid to take cover.
Yeah. I didn't really see any drawbacks on it other than it might increase a little bit of overtime on employees depending on what kind of trucks they bring in.
They talking about how many trucks, how many tons or loads or?
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh, sorry.
But I don't know, I didn't really see a whole lot of drawback to it, so.
You want that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. It'll take 1 year off of our, 140 some year cell, so I mean, that's nothing.
that's the potential what they could pay?
Yeah, so we're bidding it between, we want dump trucks, because if they bring in the side belly dumps, they have to haul it up the hill, like, so it has to be transported twice.
Oh.
And that's what would cause the overtime hours and strain our staff. But then, so that's why we bid the dump truck, or he's gonna bid the dump truck lower than the side belly dumps.
Okay. I had an early childhood and not a lot new really, except for their budget looks good because I don't think they're giving out like preschool. They're not allowed to give out the preschool scholarships, or they didn't think they were, so they didn't, but now they're allowed to. So it's kind of, if you guys have any, I don't know if you probably haven't had any calls on that, but Tammy Wiegand Kesterson said she's had tons of calls on it. So if anybody ever calls you guys about it, just call me and I can direct them to her. But they're going forward with the joining the 14 counties. So, but it's gonna be like a year out. So, but it sounds like the budget is going to be good for these 3 counties for this year because they're kind of phasing some stuff out, so.
And will you guys have to administer the governor's plan?
Yeah, I think so. That came in after that
Yeah,
meeting. We had that meeting, I think, that night, and then that stuff came in. So they were talking about that. There's like so much stuff changing and
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, that's what they didn't really know what exactly.
yeah, that's gonna be kind of
it's like a,
wild card, I think.
right. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in it that really nobody knows. And I mean, now they know, and I think they're gonna have to implement it. So, but I don't think a ton of things are gonna change the way it sounds. It's just like, it's different funding coming from a different place. It sounds like the funding's gonna be the same and the idea is good, what the governor has. So that's all I have.
Let me call John.
For his communication?
Yeah.
Sure.
I said so.
I've been in contact with Bear on several occasions there this week. I forgot to put this on here, I'll have to put it on for next week. They want to change the contract to the county home. Change is they're changing from production side contract to research side.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay.
There's all these different entities that they keep track of. And I just got an email from Sarah downstairs. I wonder if they did the same thing with the water, because they got a past due water bill now. And then they also approached me, and I'm gonna do a little more research because I don't know if it's gonna work for us. They want to put a diesel generator out there. Fine, but the cost to hook it up is out of their budget right now. I'm thinking, how much is it? They told me, and I passed out. So I'm gonna see if anybody local, what it would cost them to put it in. It sounds like a lot of money.
14,000.
You're way off. They claimed it was 60.
Ooh.
I go, how?
Just to hook it up?
Yeah. And I go, well, and he goes, well, then maybe, I go, how'd they say it? There was a potential if they don't ever quit that they get a generator there. I don't want all that writing, but
Yeah.
I was gonna check this, just one of my electrician's friends, if they could give me a rough idea. I can't believe it'd even be remotely close to that.
Well, I mean,
I thought you were close.
doesn't one work with them fairly?
That's the one that gave that ridiculous. Well, he doesn't want to do it neutral.
Okay, okay. So, but no, I mean, yeah, that's frightening.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because the generator costs 35. I go,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like.
what, the
half
generator
price?
costs 35 and it's gonna cost twice to install it?
Which I don't know, maybe they got to hook into that or something.
I don't know why.
Yeah, why did it cost that much?
And I said, why do you want a diesel?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just want to hook up to the natural?
Was there
gas?
natural gas there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. That's, yeah,
And you gotta go out there, you need to fill full of diesel.
yeah.
Johnny Cat.
Would you, hold on to this, that goes to the lawyers for approval?
Give it to Nadine.
Yeah. You can sit on it right now, because they're supposed to come in, we can't until they come in too.
Are you there?
I figured you had to-
Yeah, no, I got you.
When do you want me to? do
Okay,
it?
you're on for communications.
They're supposed to come in any little bit.
Oh,
If I put it here,
Oh, I
yeah,
sent
I
you
know
guys
you
an
won't forget.
email about the bus loading and unloading in Amana, so, I followed up with that and, sent what the Visitors Bureau put out. I gave that information to the party involved, with the complaint, so I just want to let you know that. We also had the radio governing board meeting, last week. We talked about, obviously the equipment and the radios and the maintenance program. They're planning to come, in July. Hopefully they'll have the numbers for the, what the equipment's gonna be and the maintenance. And they're gonna come to our board meeting in July with the Raycom representative, I believe. The school boosters that they're working on this summer, when school's out, will be Iowa Valley, Mary Welsh, and ILS. They're budgeted through the 9/11 funds and should be completed this summer. Yesterday I had the mental health board. They named a new interim director, which is Julie Davidson. She'll be replacing May. Our withdrawal was approved as expected from the 28E. Johnson County also withdrew, although they still pledged the district that they would work with the new DAP, even though they're not going to be in the 28E with them. They talked about the assets that are in each county that were jointly bought by either the county or by the mental health services. And it's really not going to affect us because we don't have any cars or anything that's really over $300 in value. So that was just one thing we talked about, that it's not really going to affect us. So, but other than that, that's what I had for the weekend. I'm headed to Eldora for this meeting up here today. So, any questions about those?
No, I think it's good.
Okay,
All
that's all
right,
I had.
all right. Have a good weekend, John.
Yep, you guys have a great holiday weekend and talk to you next week.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Hey Becky,
Hello,
Hi, Becky.
how are you?
I'm good. Any questions on my report?
Looks like business as usual.
Pretty much.
I figured you'd let us know about bad news quicker.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Are we all good with moving forward with Big Iron to try to get rid of that van since the
Yeah, it didn't work
public
the other
notice
way.
didn't work?
Yeah,
Nobody bid on it?
Mm-mm.
nobody did.
No, I had 3 people that either called or stopped and looked at it, but nobody did a formal bid, so.
Still runs decent, doesn't it?
Do what?
Still runs decent.
Yeah. Yeah, it runs good. I mean, it's just when it doesn't run, you have problems.
Yeah.
Big
Finding
deal.
parts for it is, yeah. So, anyway, I'll go ahead and get with Chris and get that set up and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
You do.
I do. Oh, yeah, your REA. I didn't hear anything back from Lou's office on that, from McMean, because I asked him to review it.
So we don't have any contracts in here from your file.
Says EC cog.
Right, the ECOG one, that's what we need, but I attached that and sent it on to Lou's office to have them review it, because that's what Brandy always tells me to do.
Right.
And I never received anything back from them saying it was okay.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to wait till I get confirmation from them to have you guys sign it.
Okay.
So maybe next week.
Okay.
Okay?
So put that in for next week's agenda, please. Just in case it comes in. And also put the bear thing on the agenda for me to sign next week. I'll think of it again. Anything else for Becky?
All right.
Thank you.
I love your reports, Becky. It's less than 3 minutes. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
There you go.
The weed commissioner is on hold yet. I don't remember a liquor license, was there?
Yeah, one. Humana Society,
Transfer.
Humana Colonies Outdoor Convention Facility.
If we didn't have a man, we
Temporary
wouldn't have any liquor license.
transfer.
Hello.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Need to approve the cigarette permits.
There's 4 of them, as always. Come and go. Casey's,
I think I it still said it's come and go.
Dollar General, well, Maverick.
I was gonna say they're trying to change their name and everything.
Yeah,
But we passed theirs last week.
that's what I thought too.
That's cigarettes.
Well, we were doing the name change last week.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
All in favor, say aye.
I'll second that.
Oops, I figured that. All in favor, say aye.
Right?
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Schedule Iowa County FY 25 budget amendment public hearing number 3.
She would like that scheduled for June 13th at 10 a.m.
That's not the meeting that we're short, no, it's June 20th, right? That we're short-staffed downstairs that she wanted to cancel.
Oh, yeah, well, I would assume she wouldn't set it up for the day she's coming. but not
Yeah.
the Meeting.
I thought it was June 20th.
Well, here, it's easy. When are you going? The 13th or the 20th?
I'm on the 20th.
It's the
Yeah,
20th.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for June 13th at 10 a.m.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Approve and authorize the chair to sign ICAP insurance renewal effective 7/1/2025.
That looked straightforward, right? Everything seemed status quo to me.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
insurance renewal.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Pioneer Cemetery, I'd like to wait probably until after the next finals. I need to talk to them, because they want to have this guy that does all their tree cutting, he lives out of the county, if he can be on the board.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we'd be full again.
And Jared's out. Lucky, right?
Then he'd be Jared.
He, I mean, he was really sad about it.
Her big request was there just somebody to spot check those 2 cemeteries.
Yeah. I got Derek a go-kart. I'll just send him over here.
Okay, I asked her, which cemeteries are mine? I go, we never got told what cemeteries we watch yet, do we?
What was that, Kevin?
I was talking, do you know what cemeteries that you're supposed to keep track of?
Not 100% yet. I don't know what my role's gonna be.
Okay. I missed one.
Nope.
Road closure request for amend Oktoberfest parade on October 4th. Consideration 2025.
They're doing it together, which is good.
That's a first.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Certificate of adjustment of tax lien item consideration. Tax list item consideration.
So this is just, yeah, releasing it.
Yeah. What is it? You want to pass that?
That property,
Oh,
had unpaid sewer of $120, so then they did a tax lien, and then we had to release it.
I gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Do you need to look at it?
Okay.
No, that's it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
right?
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Do I have to sign that somewhere?
Michelle and Brandy.
Okay.
Well, let me check.
Just want to be sure. There should be an ICAC thing I'm supposed to sign.
Yeah, I'm looking, I'm filling it out for you.
Anything else? Can I go
I
on?
thought about doing 9:30, I should have.
Fish with Becky.
I just didn't know what the bottom part would end up
Garrett, you wanna pull a chair up?
Looks like your chair, you work there this.
Does everybody know everybody?
I think so.
Okay, we're here to discuss Garrett Dozer, REIC potential ordinance. Want to go ahead and give your spiel?
Thank you. Yes, Garrett Dozark. I'm here on behalf of REIC, the Regional Landfill Commission for Iowa County, and we're here to propose ordinance 41, which is a flow control ordinance law. To put very simply, and the need for this law is cooperation. Right now, or the purpose of this law is also to eliminate the friction that currently might be in place between REIC and the cities. And so long story short, the purpose of this law is to ensure that that waste that is generated in Iowa County is brought to the Iowa County landfill. And there currently isn't an enforcement mechanism in place in order to have that occur. Our cities are reporting to us that they really don't have an enforcement mechanism to force a hauler to bring their trash to Iowa County. And this would allow us to do that. And so this ordinance is vital for the landfill. We currently need to build a new cell for the landfill and do not have any money saved up for that. And so we need to be able to control the waste that is generated in Iowa County. To give you some examples, there's been reports of Johnson County Refuse having dumpsters in Iowa County, and there's no city that could enforce against them. Or let's say the Wazzerbon needs to get taken down and they privately contract to haul it out of Iowa County. That would be a lot of money. That would be out of our hands. And the last thing that we would want as a landfill commission is to have our citizens pay for trash twice, once to pick it up and then paying it again by not having it be brought to Iowa County. So the purpose of this is to make sure everyone plays fair, plays by the rules. And then also, biggest of all, we're hoping takes the burden off of the city's hands of having to even oversee this, and it would be the responsibility of REIC. Lastly, too, this ordinance is not a witch hunt or meant to go after anyone. In fact, it's just meant to be an enforcement mechanisms on the books so that if we have any consistent and persistent violators that are just flagrantly violating, we have an enforcement mechanism. Our intentions for any violators to begin with is simply education and warnings, violation letters. Hey, you're picking up trash in Iowa County, you need to bring it to the Iowa County landfill. And for any types of fines and things like that, that would only be reserved, like I said, for the worst of offenders.
So is it listed in there what the fines are, can be, will be?
500 minimum and 10,000 maximum.
So just for clarity, since I'm newer on the landfill board anyways, what cities are having issues with haulers not taking trash to Iowa County?
There was currently an issue with ABC on one of their routes, just basically picking up trash and going to the Johnson County landfill. And
That's Williamsburg.
yes,
Are there any other cities that are having issues with haulers?
not right now.
I don't know if cities in particular, David can probably elaborate, they're not sharing the county.
Yeah, there's,
So we don't want to call them haulers out, but.
yeah, there's like Johnson County Refuse has a route right next to the landfill that runs on the county line heading south. There's over probably 25, 30 homes, plus dumpsters in that area that aren't even getting brought to the landfill. You can't get any closer to the landfill than that, and we're still having trouble with that being brought to us.
What steps have been taken to help that situation? My understanding was we were supposed to talk to the hauler. Has that been done? What?
Can't get a hold of them. I reached out to them and I had no response back.
So,
But there's other haulers in the county where their tonnage has dropped too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, try not to use his base name. you know, we don't know where it's going, but their yearly annual tonnage has dropped.
Mhm.
So, it's not talking about Williamsburg at all.
So, I guess, here's where I need some lines drawn. This is being pitched on the basis of the cities need us to take care of this for them because they're having these issues. And I'm hearing one city in particular that we have issues. And my understanding with talking to the council is that they don't really see an issue with the small amount of waste that's not being taken to the landfill right now. Is that correct, Aaron?
And just for clarity, they're not taking the garbage from Williamsburg over to Johnson County. That's not happening. It goes to their transfer station in Cedar Rapids and gets transported over to Milan through rail, which is legal through interstate commerce.
Don't we have, we being the 2080 agreement with the cities that the garbage goes there?
And that's our problem, is our only enforcement mechanism currently is to go after the cities or to find the cities. And that's the last thing as the landfill commission we would want to do. We would want to always work in cooperation with our cities. And so, yes, a side purpose of this is to eliminate that friction, but the main purpose of this ordinance is that the landfill itself can have control over all trash that is generated in Iowa County because we need to have control over it financially.
And it's not just a city problem, it's a real problem also.
It's a county problem.
So what are we doing about people that are just burning garbage instead of having it hauled over to the landfill?
That's true in town or in the country?
Rural.
My understanding is some of it they can legally burn, can't they? I mean, if it's created on their farm and burned on their farm, I think that's legal.
Used in the open burn lot.
Yeah, usually, unless there's a burn ban on it. That part of it, I think, so, you know, if it's a building on their property, they can bury it or do what they want on their property.
And we want it to be flexible as well, so I have a mechanism in here for waivers, or if it's brought to the landfill in Iowa County and it's refused, then they're free to bring it elsewhere.
So if it's contaminated, we can't accept it, it can't go somewhere else.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, we don't want this to prevent the proper management of waste, but we do want to control solid waste in Iowa County.
And just for clarity, we did come to the landfill commission, and I think it was in December, and we tried to hash this out with them. And so I've got the scale tickets, we've scaled everything. So the only thing that does not come there from Williamsburg is Wednesday they stop and they pick up the city dumpsters, which they don't charge us for. So we agreed to weigh that garbage and agreed to pay for that garbage, even though it's not going to the landfill. And the reason that it doesn't is because ABC has a route where they do these dumpsters and they stop and they pick up garbage in Johnson County. They stop and pick up the city of Williamsburg's dumpsters, and then they move on to somewhere in Lynn County and then take it to their transfer station. So we've never even had more than 1,000 pounds.
It's less than $50 a month according to the records. I was just pulling this out.
Yeah, so we're paying for garbage that's not going there, just,
Everything, though, I mean, it levels the playing field, so our local businesses can compete with these out-of-town companies coming in and hauling their stuff to Illinois, so we need to think about that too. Support our local businesses in the county that are local haulers as well, so when they're competing for garbage, that they're not getting, you know, undercut by these larger companies hauling it out of state.
And furthermore too, if they're like, again, going back to the Wazer bond that I don't believe is in any city limits, if that was privately contracted to be brought to, let's say, Illinois, there would be no mechanism to stop that.
Let me preface my comments by saying this. I'm not on this board, obviously, so I'm not saying this to give any opinions on anything either, but the ordinance as it's written, and it does need some revisions to it for sure. It talks about being a law. It's not a law, it's an ordinance. And it talks about law throughout, so that would have to be corrected throughout the entire thing. It does also provide, you know, and this is something that you all need to understand, and I don't know how thoroughly you read the ordinance, but it provides that in the event that I, as a person, decide I want to throw a water bottle in my trash, REIC could come after me individually for that under this ordinance and fine me $500 if they chose to do so. Because I'm taking a recyclable material and I'm putting it with my trash. It provides for that. And I understand that's not what Garrett's saying they're here to do, but well-intentioned or not, you know, things change over time and sometimes people don't always follow through and do the same thing that they say they're doing when they're trying to get something like
That's
that.
hard to be taken out.
I mean, it's applicable not only to haulers, it's applicable to every person in this county right now.
Right, I mean, that, we could claim that out.
Yeah. It'd be true for businesses, it'd be true for, you know, if I took a water bottle in my office and threw it in the trash, it'd be the same thing. So it's commercial entities, it's persons, businesses, it's everything right now, the way it's written. So that's something I want you all to understand when you're thinking about this too.
Well, in my opinion, I think something like this needs to go through, but we need to make some revisions into it then.
Yeah, there's definitely some revisions that need to be made. It also makes reference to the, and I can talk more to Garrett about that too, but it talks about the commission having the ability to issue warrants. I don't know how the commission would ever issue warrants. That's not something the commission could do. I think that was on page 12. Page 12, yeah. I mean, there's several different revisions that need to be made on it. And I guess, you know, I would certainly encourage the board to make sure you're reading through it, understanding it. If you don't understand it, have Mr. Dilly and I come back over here and we'll help you understand, you know, what all's in there, because there's more than just dealing with haulers. It's a lot more than that. This is an entire enforcement action against everybody in this county. Yeah, there's provisions in there where they can do warnings, but there's no requirement that they do warnings. They can start finding every violator throughout the county, whether you're a hauler, a commercial business, a person, whomever. And they can do subpoenas. It talks about using county resources. So I think you'd have the sheriff's office potentially could get involved in this in some way. They could be brought into this somewhat. So I don't know how extensive the board would want to go if they're going to consider something like this. So I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that.
Go ahead.
Sure.
I just have several concerns. I understand the subdivision by the landfill. Are there more steps that we could take without passing an ordinance that has crazy ramifications, as Tim has said? I think so. Is there a way to get our attorney involved in a letter to the hauler, or could we get more aggressive other than a phone call? I think there's other ways to mediate some of that. I have followed, I wasn't on the board when the landfill had the discussion with the city and the city attorney, but I followed it in the newspaper. And I don't want to, this all seems to be kind of arising from that situation, in my opinion, and I don't see the need to pass a crazy ordinance just to try to solve that difference of opinion, especially when they're paying for the garbage that they're hauling out. And the only garbage, when you talk about competition of haulers, they're only hauling $30 to maybe $40 a month of garbage to Milan. The rest of it is coming to Iowa County. So I don't think that's really a competitive advantage on $40 worth of garbage. I just think in a county with no zoning, and you know, we don't have a lot of enforcement ordinances, things like that, it just doesn't seem to fit the culture that we currently have. And I could see it if we were Johnson County and we had a lot of ordinances that dictated your mailbox, and things like that. If we were that aggressive, I could see this fitting into our culture, but this, as it stands, is very aggressive. And I think there's other ways to get these haulers to abide by the law, and even with just letters. And could we look into resources within the Board of Supervisors? Do we have the authority to enforce some of this? And I see that as a better approach than a blanket ordinance that's going to affect somebody throwing a water bottle in their garbage, as he said.
So I appreciate that. This is not meant to be an aggressive ordinance. It's meant to give us an enforcement mechanism to apply it against haulers who are violating. If you read in the ordinance, it does have language in there about not mixing recyclables with your solid waste. Those are revisions to this ordinance that can easily be taken out. We can apply it specifically and only to haulers so that it doesn't apply to individuals. We can pare a lot of that stuff out, but the problem that we're running into is the enforcement. We are stuck with a phone call or a letter, and when those go unanswered, that's it, we're stuck. And some of these, it arose on issues that may be considered small now, but what is vital for the landfill is that we have control of the waste in Iowa County, and we have made, let's say, a large waste project that doesn't go to the landfill. That's going to have a direct impact on our ability to finance our next sale. And so by having this enforcement mechanism in place, we will still write letters to, let's say, Johnson County Refuse, but then if those go unanswered, now we can actually have an enforcement mechanism against them. In no way, shape, or form is the REIC Commission intending, and we can take all this language out of the ordinance, I'm going against individuals for putting their pop bottle in the trash can. That's something that we don't have time to do.
2 questions. Let's go back to Wasserbon. The example that we were given is that they could contract today to take that down and send it out of county to Milan, right? My understanding is, don't we have to refuse it first? Or am I incorrect in that?
You're incorrect in that.
Okay. So anybody, let's say I'm a hauler, or I'm taking down the Wasserbon, I can take the garbage anywhere.
No, you can only take it out of state, or you can take it to the Iowa County landfill.
Okay.
And
So
that's why ABC has the means to do what they're doing, is because they're part of our COG, which is Johnson County, Iowa City Landfill, Cedar Rapids, Iowa County, Tama County, Benton County, Jones County. Within our COG, we can keep trash amongst our COG, but ABC's transfer station is also part of our COG as well. So they can take trash from our counties to their transportation and then take it out of state. You can't take trash from Iowa County and dump it in Benton County. But if Benton County refuses something, anyone in the COG has the opportunity to take it, but it cannot go anywhere within the state.
Kevin must be okay, he threw it away.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.